What up, folks? It's your boy Trailz, and we're back with another one. And we got a reaction to a Vietnamese tycoon who has been sentenced to death for defrauding over $29 billion with the B. Now, we're going to go ahead and listen to this video on this, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, $29 billion. And she had it all cash, and she hid it in her basement.
A Vietnamese real estate tycoon has been sentenced to death in one of the country's largest financial fraud cases ever. Property developer Truong My Lan was sentenced yesterday. A Vietnamese real estate tycoon.
Look at how she's looking at her like, you dumb bitch. That's just hilarious.
Has been sentenced to death in one of the country's largest financial fraud cases ever. Property developer Truong My Lan was sentenced yesterday for swindling cash from one of Vietnam's largest banks for over a decade. Now, Lan denied the charges and blamed her subordinates. So joining us now from London is CBS News foreign correspondent Remy Inocencio to talk a little bit more about the case. You know, Remy, I think part of the reason why this case has caught so much attention here in the U.S. is white-collar crime here gets you a trip to, a country club paid for by the U.S. taxpayers, not the death penalty.
No, not the death penalty. And that is what makes this case that much more.
Sam Bankman-Fried, right? How many other people who done did these little Ponzi scams and schemes then got away? But if the death penalty was on the table, they wouldn't do it.
More extraordinary. And also, it's one of the biggest cases of financial fraud in the world, not just involving Truong My Lan, but 85 other people linked to her across Vietnam. And those losses of $27 billion that you just mentioned, that equals to about 6% of Vietnam's GDP. And to put that in perspective, if someone did the same in the U.S. with its bigger GDP, right? That would be equivalent, get this, to the loss of $1.6 trillion. And that is how massive this fraud case is to Vietnam and why Truong was given the death sentence at her hearing. Now, the court convicted her of actually taking out $44 billion in loans from a bank, which she actually controlled through a network of shell companies.
She gave her that look again. Hey, that's so... Watch. Hey, watch her, though. She is hilarious. Watch her face. Watch her looking at her. It's hilarious.
Which she actually controlled through a network of shell companies, basically milking it as her own cash cow. Prosecutors said she even ordered her driver, interestingly, to withdraw $4 billion. It's almost unfathomable to think about this. From the bank over 3 years, and then to stash it in her basement. A little note is that.
So remember earlier when they said that she blamed some her constituents or whatever? Did her constituents stash that cash in her basement?
All that cash would weigh at least 2 tons sitting in her basement. And she was able to do this because she had friends in high places. One of them was the Communist Party chief of Ho Chi Minh City, the capital. But after he retired about several years ago, she lost her patron effectively, and the things started to crumble around her, and she was finally arrested. But politically, Vietnam's government has been on this massive crusade to stamp out corruption. The concern is that it would weaken support for the party and the politicians itself. Now, as for Truong, there's the belief that her death sentence will be commuted and that the court is basically just trying to force her to pay back at least some of that massive amount of $44 billion that she stole. Henry.
Wow. And that's crazy, too, because this is the criminality that never gets held accountable in this country. And it definitely should, because we all know who the kings of white-collar crime is in America. And those slap on the wrists need to end. Let's go ahead and read some of the comments that are on this situation here. Never thought I'd find myself agreeing with the communist government, but sounds fair to me. Pay back what you stole or face life in prison. Our sentences for high-level crimes are way too lenient. It's good to see someone else agree with me. I didn't read none of these comments, by the way. This is all new to me. Sounds like they're going to execute her. They do not give a timeline in the article for repayment of the $9 billion. Unless she has it buried someplace, time will run out. to raise the money. I do not know what the 600 properties she surrendered were, but I doubt they were worth anything close to $9 billion. If we had law like this for wasteful spending by the government, Washington politicians and lobbyists would be on the endangered species list. And I so agree. And that's all I'm saying. I'm okay with the world holding me accountable. Hold everyone else accountable equally. That is all I say. That is all I want. And that just doesn't happen because, life isn't about, what you know. It's who you know. Corrupt business people need corrupt politicians. Corrupt politicians need corrupt business people. Ever since Citizens United, our political system has become more corrupt. More money in politics only means corruption. Politicians spend most of their time dialing for dollars than the people's business. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah. I do not think so. It has only inflated the cost of purchasing a politician. No, you're missing the point he made, bruh. Which was a good point. She is not remorseful and not concerned about the lives she's affected. She even complained about the money being wasted on trying her. The sentence is fair. She has asked 2 handbags Gucci's to be returned to her because they were a souvenir to her. She only cares about her wealth. She doesn't even have any remorse for millions and people that are all savings are gone. Yeah? Love the we will pay the $350 million fine, but admit no wrongdoing. Next question. So, if you did no wrongdoing, why are you paying a $350 million fine? I've heard the USA is a crooked game, but the best game in town. Yeah? A little excessive, yet the United States has a way of punishing people who steal, con, embezzle by finding them, by allowing them to continue living the lifestyle they sought to begin with, money/assets left over after time. Yeah, he's right, but that's the problem, and we don't want that. We want punitive. If you are caught in frauding, it's called asset forfeiture. Everything. Finito. Done. I served there, was wounded. I was lucky I didn't end up on the wall. 58,000 vets did. We should take a lesson from this. If we follow suit, all the white-collar crime we'd have thrust upon the citizens would stop or at least be significantly reduced. No one is ever held accountable or faces any real punishment, only fines that are easily paid. Go Vietnam. And I agree. Shout out to Vietnam, man. Hold that bitch accountable. And make sure you hit that like sub for more. We'll be back, and I'm waiting on that Daniel Penny verdict, and we'll be back to go over that. And yeah, I'm glad. And that's all I say, man. I'm not saying this is wrong to look at criminality or any of that. I'm okay with it. Go after them. I'm not a criminal. But I tell you what, there's a lot of blue-collar people. There's a lot of government people in this country who should be looked at and should be handled the same way. I'm just saying, can we get more punishable sentences for these white-collar crimes? That'd be great. But also, that's all here for this one. Thanks for watching. And as always, deuce.